Most company, well, an entrepreneur only starts a company for one of three reasons, right? We start it to give us money, to give us free time, or so we can control our time, or to kind of have an accomplishment, like to put a flag in the ground or a stake in the ground to say that we accomplished something. Well, once we've got the business up and running, and we're running a business, we've accomplished it, so that goal has been checked. And at some point, you're making enough money, a couple hundred grand, 500 grand, whatever it is, so you kind of check that box off. Maybe in Vancouver, you need a little more, but you're checking that box. At some point, the second in command gives you your time. It allows you to do what you want, when you want, to work in the areas of the business that feed you with energy, to have time with your spouse and your friends and your family and your kids and your hobbies, so that business isn't your hobby. Because the reality is nobody wants to hear about a lawyer talk about lawyering, or a doctor talk about being a doctor, or an insurance salesman talk about insurance. No one wants to hear you talk about your company either. It's not a hobby. It's actually what you do to make money. So hiring that second in command usually is going to help you build your company faster, give you the free time, and work in the areas of the business that feed you with energy so that you can delegate everything except genius. That's why you do it, right? Is to get you that additional growth and additional time. So if you feel like you're always bumping your head against the wall, or you're working on areas that drain you of energy, or you're working on stuff that you suck at, or you just never have enough time, and you have the money, there's not a single problem that exists that writing a check can't solve. You can now hire people to buy your way out of that problem.
Right.
I remember, this was going back about 15 years ago, my sister called me up almost in tears, and I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, I don't know how big to grow my company, and she was really frustrated. And I said, well, what do you want to do? She goes, I want to spend time with my 3 kids. Her kids were 8, 6, and 4 at the time. I said, why don't you hire someone to run your business for you? And she goes, it would take 3 people to run my business for me. And I said, what did you make last year in profit? She said, about $1.4 million. I said, why don't you hire 3 people, pay them 150 grand each, make 900 grand in profit, and teach those 3 people how to run your business? So she did. 2 years later, she was making 1.5 million a year, going into the office 1 day a week. 2 of those 3 people are still with her 15 years later. And now she's making way more money than that in profit. And she's now back into the business after her kids are now all graduating from university. So you can buy your way out of a problem to give you the time to do what you want to do. And if you start delegating everything except genius and start focusing on growing people that have the skills and the confidence, your business will grow. Often entrepreneurs say, oh, I can't delegate it because they can't do it. Delegate it to them and grow them so they can do it, right? Give them the skills and the confidence and the connections so that they can do all the stuff that you throw at them.